The altar stone of the previous church, which was on campus, in the middle of the campus of the Jesuits, belonged to the church in which over 1,000 Jesuits were ordained priests. And unfortunately the church burned in, if I'm right, 79. Now we are building a new church, which is the replacement of the former one, but we wanted to show continuity, and so we brought what was the most precious of the, I may say, leftover, and we brought it here to show that yes, this work, it continues, and bigger than the former one, but it is continuity. I think it's important to have this concept. The church is over time, and here you have it. It continues. I see, and this is the Mensa of the old.
We're going to put you to work today, Your Excellency.
Hey, Saint Joseph, but right. The patron of the workers, that's not today, that's 3rd of May. All right. The photo does not render it, I don't know.
Doesn't do it justice?
No,
it's hard to get a sense of the scale.
Yes, that's precisely that. I say, difficult to have the right idea. It's so large. The feeling of being, yes, satisfied to see something, I don't say a dream, but almost a dream come real. It was not a dream, it was a project, and we knew it would take a long time to get it because of its importance, because of its size. Right now it's one of the most exciting time because you really see it grow, so to say, and at speed, given the size of this building, to see it coming out of the earth is it's a wonderful feeling of thankfulness. Today is the feast of Saint Joseph. Thank Saint Joseph to take care of this project. He's our general bursar.
As 2021 ticks towards May at an extraordinary pace, workers on site move to keep up with deadlines. In March, the church project witnessed the pouring of the nave floor, with hundreds of cubic yards of concrete being placed, accounting for almost 10,000 square feet of flooring. Further towards the sanctuary, the transept floor was also poured, covering over 7,800 square feet of space within the center and arms of the church. The Immaculatus transept alone is larger than the current Assumption Chapel, including the current chapel's side altars, aisles, baptistry, confessionals, sacristy, and sanctuary combined. Even further towards the east of the building, concrete work continued into early April, with the sanctuary, ambulatory, and sacristy floors being poured, which accounted for an additional 8,000 square feet of concrete. All of these areas combined account for 26,000 square feet of concrete placed on top of the basement steel beams within just the last 7 weeks. Flanking the nave on both sides, concrete forms and footings for the baptistry, confessionals, and side chapels also took shape. Below the main floor level, a newly constructed access in the south wall has been added. This addition will allow parishioners and guests to easily access the large 28,000 square foot basement without disrupting the Mass and liturgy. 25 miles east of St. Mary's, steel fabrication workers measure, cut, grind, and weld large steel beams specifically designed to support the Immaculatus structure and longevity. Over 900 tons of structural steel is being fabricated with attention to every ounce of detail. Literally thousands of custom pieces of steel make up the Immaculata's steel package. I-beams, rectangular tubing, plates, trusses, wide flanges, and a whole variety of other components make their way from paper to reality on the workbenches of this fabrication facility. Some parts are smaller, while other parts span almost 63 feet and could lay across the entire width of many parishioners' homes. At 230 pounds per foot, running 40 feet long, other pieces weigh over 9,000 pounds. Welds are carefully made by steelworkers who are trained in a variety of welding styles and methodologies, with some welds reaching temperatures close to 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This steelwork relies on special techniques and materials to ensure the longevity of the Immaculata's structure for hundreds of years. To do this, the steel fabricators make use of state-of-the-art machinery and even a plasma torch to refine each steel component to exact specifications. Melting and cutting at almost 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, the final steel is cooled, inspected, and approved for shipment and delivery to the Immaculata for installation. Sections of the steel are delivered load by load on site, then organized in a staging yard for proper sequencing of installation. High above the ground, the steel erection crew works, trying to keep up with the scheduling demands of the project. Throughout Lent and Easter week, vertical steel beams started to make a more visible presence to passers-by. Starting just 30 feet above the main floor, the progress of structural steel has doubled to new heights over 60 feet in the air. Expanding from the east side of the sacristy up to the sanctuary ceiling, the first tangible presence of the Immaculata is beginning to take form. Although these new heights currently tower across the Kansas sky, the addition of the cupola on top will rise up 3 stories higher than the current elevation. With ongoing meetings on campus, the architectural team often visits the site to inspect details of construction and consider various strategies for upcoming phases. Short in-person discussions with superintendents can quickly help clarify small details or new ideas and ensure their vision is being interpreted correctly by on-site crews. Far across the job site, a new phase of work begins. The mock-up for the brick and stone facade has been completed, allowing the design team to validate decisions of cast stone, brick color, patterns, and craftsmanship techniques by the stonemasons team. This is an important milestone that accelerates the purchasing of cast stone, brick, and other exterior elements for later this year. Also on site now are the first quantities of roof decking. Unloaded and stacked in its own staging yard, the roof decking will serve to flesh out the roof, adhere the roof's insulation layers, and support the roof itself. 100 yards north, exterior framing materials are also delivered and staged for installation. These parts will frame out walls and exterior surfaces for stonework later this year. A lot has happened in 320 days since groundbreaking, thanks to the generous support of donors and benefactors. 320 days from now is Ash Wednesday of 2022. It is with your support that we will push through to our last Easter in the auditorium and celebrate together a home worthy of the Immaculata.